So yes, welcome to McMaster. Show of hands if this is your first time. Oh, that's lots of you. Any alumni? Anyone who's like gone through McMaster? Wow! Holy cow! I think that's the first. Prospective students in the room, thinking of coming here. Parents, or should I say the people who are paying the bill? Right? There we go. Show of hands. Awesome. Okay. So yes, welcome to McMaster. Welcome to our campus fall preview. Welcome to our iBioMed info session. So the purpose of today, we're going to share a little bit about what the iBioMed program is. We call it that because it's got a rather long name that's easier to trip over. So we're going to share a little bit about what the experience is like. We're going to share a little bit of the mechanics of applying, and happy to take any questions after the fact. First off, we do want to take a minute to have a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge the traditional territories upon which we gather. McMaster is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations, and within the lands protected by the dish with one spoon wampum agreement. That wampum uses the symbolism of a dish to represent the territory, and one spoon to represent that the people are to share the resources of the land and only take what they need. So my name is Colin McDonald. I am the co-director for the iBioMed program. I'm a faculty member here at McMaster, and I actually teach in the first year of the program. So I can give you a little bit of perspective on that. I have my colleague, Carly, who is here. Carly is an academic advisor. So she is one of our many support systems in place to help our students navigate their academic journey. And we also have with us Chelsea. So Chelsea is a fourth year chemical and biomedical engineering student. And so after Carly and I share a little bit about what the program is like, Chelsea is going to tell you what the program is really like from the actual student perspective. Okay? So what is the iBioMed program? So it's relatively new. Is that next year will actually be our 10th year of having students come through the program. So it's it is the first program that is a true integration between engineering and health sciences. So what do I mean by that? It's administered by both faculties. So there's instructors who teach directly within the program from both, which is a pretty unique experience. We offer two different degree pathways, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. You can pursue either a biomedical engineering degree, or you can pursue a Bachelor of Health Sciences degree. Within the program, it is very much project-based. There is a lot of hands-on work. So students have right out of their first year, they have a lot of opportunity to work on student projects and to actually work with people outside of the McMaster community, within the Hamilton community and beyond. There's also a lot of unique experiences where students get to work in, for example, a wet lab right in their first year, which is actually really rare because most first year courses are quite large and it's hard to kind of create that experience. We have a wonderful community of students, a relatively smaller program, so we're able to create that unique opportunity for our students. So what is the first year of the program like? That is a lot of words on the screen. It basically boils down to a couple of math courses, a couple of physics courses, a chemistry course, and then a couple of courses that are very uniquely iBioMed, and I'm going to share a little bit about those now. So the first course is referred to as IBHS 1P10, or just 1P10. This is a full year course. I'm one of the co-instructors for it that introduces students to what biomedical engineering is. So students learn all of the fundamentals of engineering, of the engineering design process, but all of it is done through projects. And those projects are intentionally designed to be relevant to the real world. So as one example, right now, students have just started working on a project where they need to design a hip implant. And before they can actually design a hip implant, we've actually given them a case study of a patient who needs a hip replacement. But before they do that, they have an opportunity to play doctor. They get to figure out why, what is the condition that leads to this requiring a hip replacement. I'm a doctor in the fake sense, in the sense that I have a PhD. I can't actually help you. So we actually bring in radiologists from the med school. So we have radiologists come into the classroom, and so they actually work directly with our students to help them understand a little bit about the medical history. Some of these projects in the fall term, because university is a new experience, they're a little bit more structured, and so, like I said, every student in that one project is designing a hip replacement. Projects later on in the year, we remove the constraints, and we let the students really tug on their personal interests, and we give them projects that are a lot more open-ended, such as Meet Alyssa. Alyssa is going to share her story. The students are going to ask questions to Alyssa, understand what her life is like, understand some of her daily challenges, and then they're going to work to develop a solution to make her life a little bit better. And so through that inquiry process, and through us kind of stepping aside and not forcing students in one direction or the other, they really have an opportunity to leverage the learning that they're most interested in and really dive into a really neat design project. Another course that is uniquely iBioMed, and that happens in first year, is IBHS 1EP6, often just referred to as 1EP6. So this is a course that merges cellular biology and entrepreneurship and innovation. And so the idea of the course is that students investigate different human diseases, they understand disease pathways, work on investigating different potential treatments for those diseases, but rather than the solution sitting on the lab bench, they actually explore how to take that solution, how to commercialize it, how to bring that into market. And so the course like this culminates at the end of the year with a Dragon's Den style type pitch. Part of the experience in learning about the biology is, again, we give them wet lab experience. So we have a wet lab just located in the hospital right next door, where students get, quite frankly, an experience like no other. Most courses like this, enrollment is a lot higher, and so you're not going to get an opportunity to get into wet lab until your second year, third year, maybe even fourth year. Our students get that experience right off the hop. Now, after that first year, once students go through the math and science stuff, once students have their experience with 1P10 and 1EP6, then they get to make another choice. So they already made one choice to come here, which was a great choice. But then the other choice they have to make is, well, okay, what degree do I want to pursue? Do I want to pursue a biomedical engineering degree, or do I want to pursue a health sciences degree? And that choice happens after that first year. And the biomedical engineering degree, what does that look like? So that's a 5-year degree. So what that means is the first year, which is common for everybody, plus 4 years on top of that. And that program is aligned so that students can dive deeper into the engineering field, develop expertise in one core area, but a lot of that stuff is applied in a biomedical engineering context. So their choice to pursue a biomedical engineering degree doesn't end there, because when they make the choice to pursue, they're actually choosing one of our 8 engineering programs. So they effectively pair biomedical engineering with one of 8 other disciplines. So maybe a student wants to choose chemical and biomedical engineering, like Chelsea did, or maybe electrical and biomedical engineering, or maybe software and biomedical engineering. And so the structure of this program, the intention behind it, is that we want to prepare students. We want to give students, if in Chelsea's case, the same kind of chemical engineering training that any chemical engineering student in Canada is going to get. So Chelsea is prepared for exactly the same career opportunities as any chemical engineering grad. But on top of that, throughout the program, through various biomedical experiences, she has the opportunity to apply her knowledge and apply her skills working on biomedical problems. She has the opportunity to see those linkages, to see the connections between the two fields. The end result is that a program like this creates more job opportunities. It creates more opportunities for the students because, A, they're getting a depth of discipline in one area, but they're also having the opportunity to understand how their knowledge applies in other areas, which quite frankly is the real world. We just bring that experience into the classroom before they get out there. Now, students who are interested in a Bachelor of Health Sciences degree, this is quite a bit different from the 4-year honors Bachelor of Health Sciences program. We call it Health, Engineering, Science, and Entrepreneurship. So short form, a lot of short forms in our program. We call this HESI. So this is a 4-year program, right? So the first common year plus 3 additional years after that. And this program is roughly, course-wise, it breaks up into about 1/3 health sciences, but a lot of elective space for students to choose and explore their own interests. 1/3 biomedical engineering, and then 1/3 entrepreneurship. And then so the students have an opportunity to, a lot of elective space to explore their own interests, still get the biomedical engineering piece, so in the same classroom as their biomedical engineering colleagues, but then also really dive into the innovation and entrepreneurship, understanding where those opportunities arise for commercialization and innovation. Now, as I mentioned, whether the student chooses our HESI program or whether the student chooses one of the 8 biomedical engineering programs, is they're going to have a number of courses in every year of the program together. And those courses are going to vary from a project-based course, just like 1P10 that I talked about. There's a project-based course like that every single year of the program. Students do take courses in anatomy together. They take a number of courses relevant to the biomedical engineering field, like biomedical instrumentation, so learning how an ECG works, like medical imaging, learning how a CT scanner or an MRI machine works. And they get opportunities and lab time to actually really dive in and explore those concepts. How the program culminates depends on the degree. So for students in HESI, the culmination of their program is, quite frankly, I won't call it a course because it is an experience known as Innovators in Scrubs. And so this is a full year course, so it's happening right now and it happens all the way into April, where students participate in clinical placements, shadowing doctors. They're not shadowing doctors to be trained to be a doctor. That's for med school, and some of them may decide to go there afterwards. But they're shadowing clinicians to better understand gaps and weaknesses in healthcare. Where are there inefficiencies? The doctors know they exist. They know when they go into an ICU. They know the placement of equipment in the room. It's poorly laid out, and it's probably been like that for 10 or 15 years. But nobody's got the time to address it. So we bring in the innovators. We bring in the innovators who are able to look at the room, see things from a different perspective, and say, aha, here, that's the problem. I'm going to fix it. And so they're going to have the opportunity to do that. Placements in the fall, and then there's a lot of prototyping and then pitching that happens in the winter term. And so, is that going to click?
I think I might have to.
Yeah, you have to click that.
You want me to start now?
Yep, start. So as the students are going into the actual clinic, whether it be at Hamilton General, at St. Joe's Hospital, they have the opportunity to shadow clinicians, and we have a number of partners who have been working with for a number of years, who are able to give them these very unique experiences. Now, students who pursue one of our 8 biomedical engineering programs, their degree culminates with something known as capstone. So the capstone experience is a full year where students work in teams. They can work within their own discipline, but they also have the opportunity to step outside and work with a different discipline, to work on a project of their own choosing. So in first year, We kind of give them the project, we kind of give them the scenario, and we let them flesh it out. Once they get to the final year, our students have the opportunity to carve out their own path. They can work on a project that one of our faculty members or one of our partners has kind of come up with, or they can develop their own project. And they have the full 8 months, right from September all the way to April, to work on that project. They have a number of resources available to whether it be space, whether it be an allotted budget where they can actually build prototypes, test them out, and then actually pitch them at the end of the year. One of the cases where they have the opportunity to pitch their capstone projects is an opportunity for all of our students to present their final work. Every April, it's open, and you're all officially invited, is we have an iBioMed final showcase, which happens right here on campus, and that's the opportunity effectively for us to brag about our students. It's a full-day event where students from first year all the way up to fourth and fifth year have the opportunity to come, meet some of our industry partners, meet other students, meet faculty from across both faculties, and show off all of the wonderful things that they've done throughout the year. Okay. Now a little bit more about the program itself in terms of the resources that we have, because I talked about that with respect to capstone. We have a lot of resources that are dedicated to our program, what I mean by that is only our students have access to it. The first one, which hopefully you go on a tour today. If you go on a tour today, you will have an opportunity to see it. It's quite frankly the showstopper of campus. It is our iBioMed Design Studio. So a design studio is not your traditional classroom. This is your traditional classroom. A traditional classroom, you have one person at the front of the room and everybody facing me pretending to listen. In an iBioMed Design Studio, there is no front of the classroom. There are tables where students are working together, where all of the equipment they need, whether it's a laser cutter, whether it's a 3D printer, whether it's a sewing machine, we have all the resources they need to build, prototype, test, iterate. Everything is in the same space. Students will have classes in here, whether it's our first year, third year, fourth year design project, but they also have the opportunity to come into our space outside of classrooms. So it can be a study space, it can be a meeting space, it can be a prototype testing space. Whatever the students' needs are, we are able to provide them. Other spaces we have is our genetic tissue and genetic and engineering lab. So this space that I talked about in first year, this is the wet lab that our students have an opportunity to do some cell culturing directly in their first year. So it's a dedicated space that only our students have access to. They work in this lab in their first year, they work in this lab in their second year, and then depending on their interests, depending on whether for students who are in scrubs or students who are on their capstone, if the project requires it, they have an opportunity, a dedicated technician and dedicated space to work and test on their cells. And then the last space that is exclusively iBio is an imaging and instrumentation lab. So I mentioned earlier, students who have an opportunity to learn what an ECG is, to learn what an MRI is, that happens here. So we have a dedicated technician who is an expert with this equipment, who gives students lab experiences where we step outside of the textbook, and the students have the actual opportunity to play around, to explore the equipment and understanding, what leads to the development of a medical image, what that signal when your heart is beating, what that actually means. And so these three resources, whether students are in first year, second year, fourth year, fifth year, these are resources that are dedicated to all of our students throughout their curriculum. Now, that's what the program is. How do you get here? So Carly's going to share a little bit about that. Pass you the clicker if you like.
Perfect. Hi everyone, my name is Carly, as Colin introduced me earlier in the presentation, and I am the academic advisor for the iBioMed program. So we'll talk a little bit about admissions. As of fall 2027, we are starting to change our admissions model. So if you are currently a grade 12 student, can you raise your hand, please? Amazing. So in this case, direct entry is not going to apply to you because this is not until 2027. Is there anyone in the room that is grade 11, 10, even younger potentially? Awesome. So this information is important for you. So students who are applying to their studies for fall 2027 will have the opportunity to apply to either the discovery track or apply directly to a specific program. So the discovery track is for students who want to start their degree, but they're not quite sure which program they would like to go into for their level 2 program. So it would be the same as we are running the program at this point, where you do your first year, your common first year, and then at the end of your first year, you will rank your choices and receive an offer of admission that way. Applying directly to a program, so if you are sure of which program you're interested in pursuing, you can apply directly to that program as a first year and kind of lock it in for second year. And during the application process, you can rank up to 3 programs, including the discovery track as an option, if you want to use that as a fallback. And as Colin was mentioning earlier, all iBioMed students will still have a common first year, regardless of which track you do apply to. Our engineering recruitment team is out in the JHE lobby. If you have very specific questions about direct entry, we can talk about it a little bit after the presentation, but there are recruitment officers around campus that can also help to answer direct entry questions. Okay, co-op. So co-op is one of the things that sets McMaster apart from other engineering faculties across Canada. So some of the things that make McMaster Engineering so unique is that you can start as early as the summer after your first year of studies. You can choose 4, 8, 12, or 16-month co-ops. So the flexibility in our co-op program is quite a unique experience compared to other universities across Ontario and across Canada. We work with over 1,300 employers at McMaster in engineering alone, and there are over 10,000 job postings each year. McMaster has the second largest co-op program. McMaster Engineering has the second largest co-op program in all of Ontario. And students are really gaining experience in every single sector, from tech, clean energy, AI, healthcare, aerospace. We see our students going out and getting the most incredible experiences through our co-ops. For students who are in 4-year programs, you can do up to 24 months of work experience, so those would be our HESI students. And for students who are in 5-year programs, you can do up to 28 months of co-op. So in order to get the co-op designation on your degree, you have to do a minimum of 12 months, but you can do up to 24 or 28 months to gain even more of that valuable experience. So who's hiring our iBioMed students? I'm sure that you recognize some of those companies up on the screen there. This is just an incredibly small handful of examples of some of the companies that are hiring our students. Imaginable, up at the top there, is actually a company that was founded by an iBioMed grad. So it started out as a project that they started at their studies at McMaster. They ended up opening a company, and now they hire our own iBioMed students and engineering students as co-op students. Student support. So this is very much so what I do. So as an academic advisor, I support students in coursework, academic success, and honestly, so much more than that. I have a good group of students who call me their Mac mom. You can come to me for academic support, for career support, but I also am more than happy to have a coffee with you and chat about a friend who you're not getting along with. If you want to know the best place to get food on campus, if you need to travel somewhere and you need help finding out how to catch a bus or a train, I am there for all of that. We also have the Center for Career Growth and Experience, which is our dedicated co-op office to support students becoming career ready. We have TalkSpot, which is a dedicated mental health service that is exclusively for students in the Faculty of Engineering. And then we have additional services for students that have accessibility needs, and diverse student groups across campus as well. McMaster is ranked #1 for our student services in all of Canada. So that is, that really just shows how much we are passionate about student support and making sure that our students are not only successful in their studies, but become well-rounded human beings and are happy in their mental health, emotional health, as well as successful academically. So admission requirements for the program. So for the iBioMed program, there is a 90% minimum admission average required for consideration into the program. Admission is by selection. So meeting that minimum requirement does not guarantee an offer, but that is the minimum average that we are looking for to consider you for admission. Our target enrollment for fall 2026 is 155 students. And our prerequisites are English, calculus, chemistry, physics, biology, and then one more 4U or M course. And some important deadlines there. These are also on our website, but you might want to snap a picture of them if you are going to be coming to McMaster. But application deadline is January 15th, January 29th for the supplementary application, and then February 19th for the scholarship application. A little bit more about the supplementary application. So the supplementary application simply gives you a chance to tell us a little bit more about yourself, your communication skills, how you think critically, how you solve problems. So this is a requirement in the admissions process. If you apply to multiple programs at McMaster in the Faculty of Engineering, you only have to complete one supplementary application. It is done online. It is a couple of video and written responses, and it takes about 20 minutes. It is by no means a way to gauge how much you know about engineering or the math and sciences. It is a way to find students that are passionate about the program, that can communicate effectively, and that have critical thinking skills. So it's just to get to know you as a person more than anything. Entrance scholarships. So McMaster gives out over $2.5 million worth of scholarships and research awards every year. Once you complete your OUAC application, you'll be able to access Award Spring. Award Spring is a single application that you complete, and it applies you to all of the Faculty of Engineering entrance scholarships, so you don't have to submit multiple scholarship applications. And there is a short process for that of talking about your extracurricular activities, awards that you may have received in the past, answering a couple of short questions, and getting a letter of reference for Award Spring. And I am going to pass it over to Chelsea to talk a little bit more about her experience as an iBioMed student.
Okay, hi. Okay, my name is Chelsea. As both Carly and Dr. McDonald said, and I'm a current iBioMed student, so I'm in my 4th year of the iBioMed program, specializing in chemical engineering, so I'm in that 5-year BME program, and I'm going to talk about my experience. So I have some pictures. These are all actually taken from first-year projects, 1P10 and 1EP6, and so some things that I've learned throughout this program have been really time management and problem solving, and then a little bit of math and science sprinkled on top. Yes, you have to take a lot of those like math courses, but ultimately I couldn't tell you what I learned in first year, but I can tell you all of the time management and problem solving skills that I learned like going through that process. And then I chose iBioMed to be able to apply the concepts that I was learning. So it's one thing to just learn something in a classroom, but it's another thing to, in 1P10, be able to apply like the coding knowledge that you're learning to a real world problem. I think that it's really easy to lose focus about why you're passionate about something, but in the engineering program, like in iBioMed in general, you're really able to apply things and like remember why you love science. And I also chose iBioMed to keep future doors open. To me, I thought an engineering degree was very valuable because I don't know, I still don't know what I want to do when I graduate. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in high school, so I really like this program because it keeps a lot of doors open for me. Okay, so my co-op experiences, I've done three 4-month co-ops, and 2 of them were in a lab here at campus. So it was with Dr. Hoare's lab. He's a chemical engineering professor here. And my project was focused on bioprinting, or like tissue engineering in general, but using 3D bioprinting to achieve that. And it was really, really like an interesting experience. So I did 2 4-month co-ops there, so a total of 8 months. And so I really enjoyed my project. I got to gain valuable skills for future employment. A lot of times, especially coming out of first year, it can be difficult to get an industry job, but here you can gain experiences and then you'll become more competitive for industry applications, as well as exposure to academia. So like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I graduated, but I was able to see like firsthand what grad options would look like. My next co-op was just recently this summer. I did a 4-month co-op at Rain Carbon, Canada, so it's a chemical engineering plant. So I worked with engineers and operators, and I was in the field daily, so you see all the like distillation columns and pipes. I was walking around that. And it was very different from research, and I really enjoyed that. To me, co-op is a way to experience what I might enjoy when I graduate, and so I didn't want to just keep going back to the same research lab. And this was a really great way to see more like of the chemical engineering side of things, because I am also in chemical engineering. And I got a lot of exposure, so I was working there as a process engineering intern, but I was also exposed to like project management and like a lot of different kinds of industry like jobs, and so it was a really great experience in that way. And then McMaster also has a lot of clubs and teams, so just 2 that I'm going to focus on. Is I'm an AVP academic for the Chemical Engineering Society. So that looks like I host like research nights, I run review sessions for the 2nd and 3rd years. And it's a really great way for me to give back to the community. I went to the review sessions when I was in 2nd and 3rd year, and so now I get to hold them, which is really helpful for, well, I hope, for the younger years. And it's a great way for me to like help them, like I received help. And then another clubs and team that I'm on is the varsity water polo team. So for some reason, in my first year and in my 2nd year, there were quite a few iBioMed students on the water polo team, and I'm not too sure why that is. It's kind of interesting. And so I really got a sense of community. I remember one day I did not so well on a test. It was quite bad. Like I know in high school you probably think bad on a test is like an 80. It was very bad. And one of the people, the iBioMed students there, she was like, "What's wrong?" Because I was like visibly upset. And I told her that I did like really badly on this test. And I believe the exact words were, "The feeling gets better with every bad test you have." And so in engineering, it's sort of inevitable that you will get a bad grade, but the community here really helps you feel better about it, and know that it wasn't like the fact that you just don't know the content, maybe you had an off day, and you are still meant to belong here. And it also forced me to take a break from school, so that was lovely. So yeah, as I said, I love MacEng for community and the hands-on opportunities. And that is just a glimpse of my McMaster engineering experience. There are still so many other things that I've loved about this program, like my first year dorm, going on a ski trip with other people, friends that I've made in this program, or Welcome Week, for example. So yeah, feel free to ask me questions afterwards.
All right, and that's a wrap for us. Thank you very much, everybody. So it's 10:35. We will be up here if you have any questions for any of us. But again, please don't hesitate. There are a lot of resources here on campus today, whether it be here in MDCL, we have an info booth. We have another info booth over in JHE. And don't forget to go on a tour. So thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Go Jays.